No, I
you
misspoke.
lied to the Minnesotans. You said that you carried weapons in war.
Mr.
That
Chairman.
is stolen valor. You know what? My wife served 25,
Mr. Chairman,
24 years in the
a little bit of
military,
respect for the
and
witness.
she's an Iraq war veteran.
You know what I mean?
She was
This
over in
hectoring is
the
not-
war
not-
zone. That's
On a point
stolen
of-
valor, and I'm so
point of order,
disgusted with
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
And so are the people that you served
Point
with.
of order.
Point of order.
That's stolen
Halt
valor.
just a minute. Stay
Stolen
point.
valor.
Mr.
You didn't
Chairman,
carry weapons
that's
in
not questioning
war.
the witness.
Congressman, my 24 years was
That's not-
public
Will
for
you
many, many
apologize
years.
for lying?
Objection.
Will you
No, I'm-
apologize for lying?
Objection.
Hold on. Pause.
That's not questioning a witness.
Did Tim Walz just unravel on live camera? What started as a routine hearing turned into a political demolition as Pete Stauber confronted him point blank on the riots, the Gestapo comment, and even his own military record. The tension was real, the questions were direct, and the answers were anything but clear. If you thought this would be another scripted political exchange, think again. What happened next left the room stunned.
So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a
to the best
precinct
of
3
my-
burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a
That was
peaceful
a-
protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a...
And order. You need to see this. Let's roll the tape.
Thank you very much, Governor Walz. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I ask you to keep your remarks brief. I got a lot to go through. As you know, I spent 23 years as a law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota. You know that, right? Do you know that, yes or no?
I
Not
don't
a
know
trick
how many.
question. It's not a trick
Congressman,
question.
I don't know
I'll
how many
answer it for you.
years.
23 years in Duluth.
Thank you for that.
So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a
to the best
precinct
of my-
3 burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a
That was a-
peaceful protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a peaceful protest, right? As I watched lawlessness devastate Los Angeles this past week, I was reminded of your failure to protect Minnesota from similar riots. Governor Walz, on May 29th of 2020, during your own press conference, you described your response to the riots during the 2020 Summer of Love as, quote, an abject failure. Governor, I couldn't agree with you more.
That's out of context,
And
Congressman.
on May
You know it.
17th, 2025, you were at the law school, graduating Minnesota Law School, talking to the graduates. And we've talked about this. You called the enforcement of illegal immigrants a modern-day Gestapo. You've been asked 3-4 times if you would rescind that, and you won't. Will you rescind it? This is like the 5th time, yes or no?
Congressman, I was talking to law students about due process, and I
So
said
you won't rescind it.
you took an oath to due
Governor,
process.
was there a violent al-Shabaab terrorist who entered our country illegally, arrested in Minneapolis last year? Yes, there was. Were there 3 illegal child predators arrested by ICE in St. Paul earlier this year?
I certainly hope so. That's their job.
Yes, there was. Are the officers who arrested the al-Shabaab terrorists or the child predators, are they Nazis or the Gestapo?
The tactics of wearing
They're
masks.
not.
The tactics of wearing masks.
Why did you?
Unidentified.
Why
due
did you
process.
tell us that they were the Gestapo? Do you believe that any of the violent illegal immigrants I have mentioned have a right to be in this country?
I don't know what their immigration status was.
They're illegal, violent criminals that the ICE took off the streets of Minneapolis.
You did not say,
Last week,
Congressman, what their status
Governor,
was.
last week, law enforcement officers in the state of Minnesota took 900 pounds of meth off the streets. Do you support that?
We certainly do.
Do you know that
Fentanyl,
ICE?
other things.
Do you know that ICE assisted in that those arrests and investigations? Do you support the assistance of ICE in that enforcement action? Yes or no?
I can't speak to that because we were not included in the briefing.
You don't know if ICE was part of it? I'm telling you they were.
I don't have that data. I would have to trust you.
Will you
that know that.
apologize to our constituents and law enforcement officers for making them and their families less safe with your incendiary actions?
I'll congratulate them that they helped us work on the largest pension bill for
Governor.
Minnesota law enforcement in
Governor.
30 years.
Claiming my time. Governor, what weapons did you carry in war?
Congressman, for 24 years, I carried.
No. What weapons did you carry in war?
What did you carry in
What did?
uniform?
I
You
tell
know
you
I
what, Governor,
misspoke.
you're
You know I
barking down the
misspoke.
wrong tree, okay?
You know I
You
misspoke.
lied to the Minnesotans. You said that you carried weapons in war.
Mr.
That
Chairman.
is stolen valor. You know what? My wife
Yeah,
served 25,
Mr. Chairman,
24
I
years in the
reckon-
a little bit of
military,
respect for the
and
witness.
she's an Iraq war veteran.
You know what I mean?
She was
This
over in
hectoring is
the
not-
war
not-
zone. That's
On a point
stolen
of-
valor, and I'm so
Point of order,
disgusted with
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
And so are the people that you served
Point
with.
of order.
Point of order.
That's stolen
Halt
valor.
just a minute. State
Stolen
point.
valor.
Mr.
You didn't
Chairman,
carry weapons
that's
in
not questioning
war.
the witness.
Congressman, my 24 years was
That's not-
public
Will
for
you
many, many
apologize
years.
for lying?
Objection.
Will you
No, I misspoke.
apologize for lying?
Objection.
All right. Hold on. Pause.
That's not questioning a witness. That's not questioning a witness. You think
Point of
so,
order.
huh?
State your point, Mr. Rickman.
No, you're
State
yelling
your
at
point.
him.
There you go.
You're hectoring. You're hectoring. You're hectoring.
State your
Governor,
point.
you didn't carry
That's
weapons
not-
in war, did you?
State your point.
You didn't
Proceed.
carry
You
weapons
got
in war,
24 seconds.
did you?
Congressman, you know I
didn't carry
misspoke.
weapons in war, yes or no?
you.
You lied. Governor, what rank did you retire at?
I
What rank
served,
did you retire at?
Congressman, I served my battalion as the command sergeant
That's
major.
not the
and
question
for
I
pay-
asked. What rank did you retire at?
I retired as a master sergeant in
Okay,
EA.
here's your coin that says you're retired at a command sergeant major. That's
Says
your
I wore
challenge
that.
coin.
It
This
says
is-
I wore the rank.
This is that's right. You didn't retire, did you?
I did
Stolen
retire after
valor.
24 years.
Here is a picture of your coin, your challenge
Jesus
coin.
Christ.
I'm disgusted with you. I'm just.
Mr.
Governor,
Chairman, the
you
time
lie
has
when the
expired.
truth-
Congressman,
you lie
I'm-
when the
I'm
truth
sorry.
is
Time's
better.
expired.
You called half Trump supporters Nazis and fascists, and you know what? That's why the Minnesota Police and Peace Association did not support you in the last election because
Oh, I
you're missing
support
in
them.
action.
Gentlemen's time's expired.
On behalf of the folks from the land of rocks and cows, thank you. Now you go back.
Chair Rickman.
Before we get into this explosive showdown, I need you to do something right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. If you believe in law and order, if you believe in accountability, and if you're tired of politicians skating by without being challenged, this channel is for you. We are building a movement of informed, unapologetic patriots who care about truth. Now let's talk about what just happened. What went down inside the House Oversight Committee was nothing short of a political earthquake. Tim Walz walked in expecting another routine hearing. What he got instead was a direct, relentless confrontation that exposed serious contradictions in his record on riots, law enforcement, immigration, and even his own military service. From the very beginning, the tone was set. Pete Stauber, a man who served 23 years in law enforcement, wasn't there to play games. He made it clear he knew exactly what he was talking about. And when he put that image of the burning Minneapolis precinct in front of Walz, the entire dynamic shifted. Think about that moment. A police precinct in flames. Businesses destroyed. Communities devastated. And the question was simple. Was that a peaceful protest? Walz tried to dance around it, but eventually had to admit it was a criminal act. That alone destroys the narrative we were fed back in 2020. Even more powerful was when Stauber quoted Walz's own words back to him. Abject failure. Those weren't Stauber's words. Those were Walz's words describing his own handling of the riots. And when confronted, he claimed it was taken out of context. That's the standard playbook, isn't it? Say something damaging, then hide behind context when you're called out. But it didn't stop there. One of the most disturbing parts of this exchange was the modern-day Gestapo comment. Walz had previously compared immigration enforcement officers to Nazi secret police. Let that sink in. The men and women of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, risking their lives to remove violent criminals from American streets, were compared to one of the most evil forces in human history. Stauber didn't let that slide. He brought up specific cases, including a violent operative connected to Al-Shabaab and child predators arrested in Minnesota. He asked a straightforward question: are these officers Nazis for doing their job? Walz refused to give a direct apology. He pivoted. He deflected. But he never owned it. As a patriot, this is where I draw a hard line. You can disagree on policy. You can debate immigration numbers. But when you start demonizing law enforcement officers as Gestapo, you are attacking the very people who protect American communities from terrorists, traffickers, and violent criminals. Then came the moment that truly changed the atmosphere in the room. Stauber accused Walz of stolen valor. This wasn't political theater. This was personal. When you claim to have carried weapons in war, when you allow that image to shape your political persona, you are stepping into sacred territory. There are men and women who actually deployed into combat zones, who faced enemy fire, who lost brothers and sisters in uniform. That sacrifice is not a prop for a campaign speech. Stauber pressed him directly. Did you carry weapons in war? Did you deploy to a combat zone? What rank did you actually retire at? And when the issue of the challenge coin came up, the discrepancy between serving as a command sergeant major and retiring as a master sergeant was laid bare. Here's the thing. Americans respect service. We honor it. But that honor depends on truth. If you exaggerate or misrepresent your record for political advantage, that is a betrayal of every soldier who earned their stripes the hard way. And notice something else. Walz didn't respond with clarity and strength. He didn't calmly dismantle the accusations. The exchange became tense, defensive, agitated. That's not the posture of someone confidently standing on solid ground. Another critical moment was when Stauber brought up major drug seizures in Minnesota and the role ICE played in those operations. Again, simple question. Do you support that cooperation? Instead of a clear yes, Walz claimed he didn't have the data. When you're governor of the state, and you're being asked about one of the largest drug busts in recent memory, I don't know is not a reassuring answer. This is bigger than one heated exchange. This is about leadership during crisis. It's about whether the people in charge respect the rule of law or undermine it with inflammatory rhetoric. It's about whether elected officials tell the truth about their records. Even law enforcement groups like the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association have shown hesitation in backing leadership they feel doesn't have their backs. That should matter to every voter who values public safety. As a conservative commentator, here's my take. Accountability should not be partisan. If a Republican governor allowed a precinct to burn and called his own response an abject failure, I would expect Democrats to hammer him. That's oversight. That's how the system is supposed to work. But what we've seen for years is selective outrage. Riots minimized. Law enforcement vilified. Immigration enforcement demonized. And now, serious questions about military service brushed off as political attacks. This exchange was uncomfortable to watch because it forced direct answers to uncomfortable questions. And in my view, the governor did not rise to the moment. Whether you agree with Stauber on every policy issue or not, what he demonstrated was preparation, clarity, and a refusal to let evasive answers slide. That's what voters deserve from their representatives. At the end of the day, Americans want safety in their neighborhoods. They want honest leadership. They want respect for those who serve in uniform, whether that's a police badge or a military patch.